This week on the show, we're going to take a look at the eBay Fall Seller Update, Poshmark's Secondhand Sundays, and we're going to talk about a couple of former eBay executives who are on their way to the big house. And I don't mean the University of Michigan. What is up, Galaxians? Welcome to another episode of the Galaxy CDs, Rocks, and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. It is another full episode of reselling news with no what sold segment at the end. I actually had some stuff that I probably could have given you this week, but there's just so much going on in the world of reselling news that I thought was more important than a few books that I sold here at the Galaxy. So let's just get stuck right in.
News updates.
So first up, the eBay Fall Seller Update is here, and it's pretty underwhelming, if I'm being honest. There's really not a whole bunch to it. We're going to go through some of the high points of it, but normally these seasonal updates have a lot of stuff going on, and this one, to me, at least, you can let me know in the comments down below if you're watching on YouTube, or you can shoot me an email at galaxycds@gmail.com if you're listening to the podcast, and let me know what you think of it. But I was left a little underwhelmed, I guess, by what they announced here. This season's seller update, they say, focuses on new features and tools designed to help you run your business, solidify your brand, and build connections with buyers so they are more likely to do business with you again. A lot of this we talked about last week as part of the eBay Open announcements, but here it kind of is officially. We're excited to announce that you can now add videos to your storefront and listings to showcase your brand and merchandise. Videos will give you the opportunity to tell your story and show off your products like never before. Additionally, coming later this fall, we'll be increasing the number of listing photos you can upload from 12 to 24, as we talked about last week on the show. At no extra cost, this will be available in all categories with the exception of vehicles. Store subscribers, as we talked about before as well, can also now create newsletters with customized templates, send promotional offers, add branding to increase visibility, and more. With so many tools to play with, you'll be able to build your brand, tell your story, and attract repeat buyers so that your business can flourish. In the coming weeks, you'll have access to our new and improved messaging experience on both desktop and mobile. You can stay in touch with your buyers and continue to build positive relationships and promote your brand. For my part, I looked at the mobile version, which you can preview, and I was not particularly knocked out by the fact that you can no longer see, like, I have messages that I've kind of saved in my inbox, as it were, as reminders of things to be looking at that customers had requested. And if I stumble on it, it's there kind of in my inbox, in my face. And at least the last time I looked at the new messaging experience on the mobile app, that functionality, if you will, was not there. So that was a little disappointing. I sent them that feedback months ago when I first saw that. I haven't looked at it recently, so I don't know if that's been updated, but that's the only thing I saw. I know a lot of folks have been complaining about the listing tool, the new listing tool on desktop that is trying to mimic what they do with the mobile listing tool. And this is looks like, from the pictures that they show on their website, is going to be more of the same. It's really designed to look like the mobile app. So do with that information what you will. In shipping news, they say over the coming months, we'll be rolling out our new eBay International shipping service to eligible sellers. We've also included important information for sellers who sell to and into France about the extended producer responsibility legislation that was just passed over there. They've also provided some guidance on selling in Great Britain and Northern Ireland now that those markets have left the European Union. Then they break down kind of in just 4 segments, 4 sections on the website on eBay, where this information is. Running your business, again, the improved messaging experience, the new market regulations in France and in the UK. There's a link to learn more. And of course, as always, I will link to all of this information in the show notes and the video description below. There's a box for the new international shipping service, which you can get more information on, listing and promoting. where they talk about, again, adding those videos to your storefront and building repeat buyer business for your store. And then they note there is a user agreement update. There's only 4 things highlighted. When you click the link, it doesn't really take you to an update. It just takes you kind of to the terms of service, which isn't necessarily all that helpful. But they noted that the terms applicable to users resident in India is changing. They clarified the seller payment method authorization portion. They provided more information on the eBay International Shipping Program terms, and they clarified responsibility for user fraud losses. So all of that's going on. One of the things that was usually in these seller updates that was not in this seller update was updated item specifics. Normally, this is the time of year where we get to grouse about going into the fourth quarter, and eBay is asking us to edit existing listings to add new item specifics. This time around, there are none. Now, there are, and I've seen some sellers squawking about this, there are some category changes that took place last week that some sellers were saying they had not been notified of. Those of you who are longtime listeners of the show will know that that is actually not the case. I did a pretty in-depth look at those category changes back in late August on this show, talking about what was changing. Most of it is in the automotive parts and accessories catalog, but there were changes in, I don't know what it is, lamps and pillows and a few other odds and ends categories. Trading cards had some updates, but they announced this back in kind of mid-August. The episode I covered it on was on August 22nd. So it's not a massive update, but it is, of course, going to affect a lot of users who are going to have to make some changes as items move among categories. If you are listening to the podcast and you're a fan of getting all this kind of information here, and you have some reseller friends that are complaining about not being able to keep up to date with all the goings on in the world of eBay, maybe share this podcast with them. So I'll be happy to help them try to keep up. But that was not part of the fall seller update, but there were some changes. Moving on, eBay made several announcements last week, some of which kind of overlap with each other regarding changes that are going on in the sneaker category. We talked a little bit about this in a couple of previous shows, but they note the updates to the sneaker experience on eBay. We are streamlining the selling process, making shipping easier and faster, and we're expanding the authenticity guarantee to more sneakers. And they say we're just getting started. I mentioned either last week or 2 weeks ago that they were going to change how you shipped items to their authentication center, and that they were going to provide you with a label. As it turns out, that label is going to be free to you, the seller. So that is terrific news. I was concerned initially because the initial announcement was pretty vague that they were going to force you to use their specific shipping method rather than choosing your own, and that might incur some additional costs for you. As it turns out, they're going to give the label to you for free. So we're removing the complexity tied to shipping for both sellers and buyers beginning in October. They will provide you with a label at no cost to you upon sale to ship your authenticity guarantee eligible sneakers to our authentication center. The change will apply to new and revised listings, and eBay shipping will be the default domestic shipping service. When you use eBay's shipping label, it will also provide you with loss and damage protections if anything goes wrong during the first leg of shipping to the center. In addition, our new handling time for this category will require that you send these eligible sneakers to the authenticator in 3 business days or less. I don't know what it was previously, if you got to set your own, but you going forward, it's going to be 3 days or less to get this thing shipped out to their authentication center. Buyers will receive their item within 3 days from the authenticator following its authentication. They note they're also taking the guesswork out of shipping costs to enhance transparency, build trust, and drive velocity. Buyers will pay a flat shipping fee of $14.95 in the US. So a buyer of sneakers will pay $14.95. You'll get a label from eBay to send it to the that's a mouthful, to the authenticity center, where it will be checked out and then forwarded on. So that's all terrific news. They are going to expand it to more sneakers. They note that they're also updating how you list sneakers. Listing will be faster. Soon, the shipping section in the listing flow will automatically specify the free domestic service eBay will provide to ship sneakers that are eligible for the authenticity guarantee. It will be prominently displayed on eligible listings. This all does not come out without a little bit of bad news, though. Final value fee increase only for sneakers sold between $100 and $150. Effective on October 10th, sneakers sold in men's or women's athletic shoes categories will be subject to the following fee changes. If they're less than 100 or 150 more or more, those fees are not changing. However, they are aligning the final value fee for sneakers sold between $100 and $150. For those sold, the final value fee will be 12.9% for sellers without a basic store subscription or above, and 12% for sellers with a basic store subscription or above. In addition, a 30-cent per order fee will apply to sneaker sales between $100 and $150. As part of this change, items listed for under $150 may be subject to insertion fees if the seller has used up their monthly zero insertion fee allotment. Sneakers listed for $150 or more will continue to receive free insertion fees. They also note that the $14.95 flat rate shipping fee that they mentioned for buyers will not be subject to final value fees or ad fees. That is also very, very cool. So no cost to you in terms of fees on their shipping. So really some excellent news if you're a sneakerhead and you're buying or selling on eBay. They note that the seller protection update for authenticity guarantee transactions is changing effective November 1st. They're going to update how they define evidence of successful delivery for things in that program. They note that you are required to use a tracked shipping service showing delivery status to the authenticator's address in order to qualify for item not received protection. Previously, they note, we looked for evidence showing at least the city or zip code of the address. Starting November 1st, we're going to look for evidence of shipment to the full address. Once an item is marked as received by the authenticator, delivery of the item then becomes eBay's responsibility. And if there are any delivery issues, they'll work with the buyer to resolve them. They will also require signature confirmation for orders valued at $750 or more, and they strongly recommend shipping insurance. Now, obviously, if you're selling sneakers, this is going to be a no-brainer because they're already providing you with the label, which will, of course, have tracking information on it. So this doesn't really affect you if you're in the sneaker sales. If you're in like watches or any of the other categories, this is something that may be a change for you. And they also announced who this shipping is all going to be through. It is going to be with FedEx. They are continuing to ship. Man, I am struggling tonight. We continue to simplify shipping for sneaker sellers, and now we're partnering with FedEx for added shipping convenience. Again, beginning in October, upon sale, eBay will provide you with a FedEx shipping label at no cost to ship them to their authentication center. So, again, those three pieces of news really should have probably been rolled into one announcement by eBay instead of three separate ones, but there you go. Big doings over at eBay on the sneaker front. You may recall eBay has had their up and running grant. This is, I believe, the third year for this. And yes, it's right there. If you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see it on the screen. For the third consecutive year, 50 exceptional eBay sellers were awarded $10,000 in funding, plus customized mentorship and training to help grow their businesses online. They note the 2022 winners are as diverse as the inventory, passions, and expertise that all of our sellers bring to eBay. This year's recipients represent 23 different states across the U.S. 60% were minority owned, 52% were women, 22% have a disability, and 10% identified as LGBTQ+. Almost 30% are either veterans or have some military affiliation. So really, really cool program that eBay is running, giving grant money to obviously a very diverse group of eBay sellers. They have a video in this article that you can watch where they introduce them all. There's pictures of them here at the bottom. So again, I will provide a link to this, but congratulations to all the winners of the eBay Up and Running grant program. Now for some not so good news from eBay. We have been talking about this thing for, gosh, well over a year. The eBay harassment of the folks who run the site e-commerce bites. Two eBay executives are heading to prison for harassing the couple behind the newsletter. This is on Reuters. On September 29th, two former eBay senior security executives were sentenced to prison for carrying out a campaign to harass and intimidate a Massachusetts couple through threats and disturbing home deliveries after their online newsletter drew the ire of the company's then CEO. He is still, as near as I can tell, not in any trouble himself, but these guys, Jim Baugh and David Harville, were sentenced to 57 months and 24 months in prison, respectively, for their roles in the campaign that has been covered on this show and many others at great length, but involved them sending cockroaches and a funeral wreath and a bloody Halloween pig mask. Just craziness. The judge, Patty Saris, who imposed the sentences during the hearings in Boston, called it hard to imagine scheme fueled by a toxic culture at the Silicon Valley e-commerce company. It was extreme and outrageous, she said. She ordered Baugh, eBay's former senior director of safety and security, and Harville, its former director of global resiliency, to also pay fines of $40,000 and $20,000, respectively, after they pled guilty to these cyber stalking related charges. In court, they did each apologize to David and Ina Steiner, the couple from Natick, Massachusetts, who run e-commerce bites, and spoke of being relentlessly terrorized by eBay's employees. As agents of eBay, they made our lives a living hell, David Steiner told the judge. Prosecutors said senior executives deemed the newsletter critical of eBay, and in August 2019, then Chief Executive Officer Devin Wenig texted another executive that it was, quote, time to take her down. So, again, he does not appear to be in any trouble. There is a lawsuit pending against eBay, Wenig, and others by the couple. They have, if you go to e-commerce bites, there is actually an article there where they discuss really for the first time, kind of in depth, what went on and their reaction to it. So you can go and check that out. But this thing is finally starting to wind down, at least on the criminal side. Now, I assume eBay will make some effort to settle this thing out of court, make a financial payment to the fine folks over at e-commerce bites, and try to move on beyond this thing. All right, that's enough about eBay. Let's talk about Poshmark for a little bit. The Posh Life blog has an article up introducing Secondhand Sunday, encouraging everyone to shop secondhand this holiday season. Today, they said, we announced the creation of National Secondhand Sunday, the first ever holiday dedicated to supporting secondhand sellers, circular fashion, and the planet during the peak holiday shopping season. The registrar at National Day Calendar proclaimed Secondhand Sunday will be observed the first Sunday following Thanksgiving annually. So this is a new, because we need another holiday around the holidays. But this will be a new event taking place. The first one is November 27th of this year, 2022. This is so much more than just a holiday to us. It's a movement encouraging everyone to shop secondhand. The holiday is, of course, always a big time. It's primed to be the biggest on record for secondhand gifting, they said. Inflation is making secondhand gifting more appealing than ever, with about 2 in 5 consumers concerned rising costs will result in spending more when it comes to holiday shopping. Yet, they still want to find those extra special gifts. Couple that with the independent research showing more than 90% of U.S. adults are open to receiving a secondhand or resale gift this holiday season, yet only a third, 34%, are likely to buy them for others. And our community has a unique opportunity to support shifting shopping habits and encourage consumers to think secondhand when they're crossing off their holiday list. Enter Secondhand Sunday, a movement to encourage everyone to experience the magic of shopping personal, buying unique, one-of-a-kind items from individual sellers instead of traditional retailers. As a seller, be on the lookout for a series of opportunities, promotions, and events leading up to Secondhand Sunday on 11/27. A give some suggestions, spread the word. Go to secondhandsunday.com. There is a link in this article to share your story about why you will shop and sell secondhand. Shop secondhand. Poshmark is the ideal one-stop shop to find must-have gifts. I assume that Mercari and eBay and all the other sites will probably jump on this. I don't know if there's a big marketing push planned for this beyond kind of the kind of insider reseller community, if they're really going to try to promote this and advertise it on TV and whatnot. But they're at least asking us to get out and share it. So, and they note, make sure you stock your closet when it comes to gifting this holiday season. The top motivator for secondhand shoppers is to find deals. 60% say so, especially on luxury items. 42% said that. And unique and vintage items that can't be found anywhere else. 54% of buyers said they're looking for that kind of thing. So mark your calendars. Secondhand Sunday is happening 11/27, right between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So there you go. Secondhand Sunday coming up in late November. One more nice push. Hey, I give them credit for making a big deal out of it and trying to help promote what we do. So kudos to everyone involved with that. And I'll be curious to see how it does. They also introduced some new features at their Posh Fest conference. New ways to sell, ship, and get paid in a flash. We just announced an exciting roundup of new features at Posh Fest. If you didn't get a chance to tune in, don't worry, they say. We got you. Along with the beta launch of Posh Shows, which we talked about last week, we announced more seller features to keep you on your radar. From listing to getting paid, check out these highly requested features. My saved searches. The wait is almost over. Coming shortly, will automatically share listings to the most relevant shoppers who are looking for items like yours. Scale to fit photos, cropping photos when creating listings. Soon you'll be able to pinch and zoom out so that your full item is visible in the frame. I assume they're talking about with mobile on that. And an update on search starting this weekend. We're rolling back our recent changes to search. Get your listings ready. No printer shipping, no printer, no problem. Sellers in the US will be able to take your package directly to USPS and show them a QR code that they'll print and ship it for you. We've talked about that before. eBay has it. I believe Mercari also has it. So Poshmark is joining the bandwagon with the QR code shipping. They're also adding some payout options. We're adding faster payout options for you to access your earnings faster than ever before. Coming soon. Sellers in the US on Posh will be able to cash out with instant transfer, PayPal, and Venmo. Sellers in Canada will be able to cash out with PayPal. So they have some links to some other videos and some other information from their Posh Fest. So, but again, lots of updates over at Poshmark. If you're a seller there, all of this looks like terrific news. So good on them, and well-timed again, all going into the holidays. I also got an email, speaking of instant payout, from eBay, and I forgot to pull it up in this thing about adding instant payouts and making that available. They had talked about that some time ago. It looks like they're ready to roll that out. There is an additional fee attached to that. Poshmark does not say on this if there is an extra fee to any of these payout methods, but I know the eBay one was scheduled to have an extra fee. Looking at Amazon, this is not maybe necessarily reselling related, but I feel like I'm bashing on Amazon all the time, but I feel like they're just printing money at Amazon, yet they're always crying about not making enough money and canceling programs and changing things. They just announced last week, according to Bloomberg, that they're going to close all but one US customer call center. They're going to close all of these centers and shift hundreds of office employees to remote work in an effort to save on real estate, according to people familiar with the matter. The call centers currently planned for shuttering are Kennewick, Washington, Lexington, Kentucky, and Phoenix, said one of the people who were asked not to be named because they were not supposed to be talking about the plans. The call center that remains open will most likely be in Huntington, West Virginia, or in Houston. So again, counter to a lot of places that are trying to call people back into the office post-pandemic, Amazon is kind of going the other way. They're going to let these folks work from home. At least in this particular case, it doesn't look like they're laying anybody off. So there will still be U.S. call center representatives. They will just not be housed in an actual Amazon-owned building. Amazon announced that they are going to have a 2-day Prime shopping event on October 11th and 12th. This is a second event in addition to Prime Day, which was back in July. This is, again, they're trying to maximize what they're doing. So, again, this is probably good news if you're a seller over on Amazon. In officially announcing Prime Early Access Sale on Monday, they also released new holiday gift guides and a new top 100 list of gifts. Quote, Prime Early Access Sale gives members a chance to kick off the holiday shopping season early with hundreds of thousands of deals. As part of this new deals event, Amazon is introducing a top 100 list for some of the season's most popular and giftable items. New deals from the list will drop throughout the event, offering deep savings across all categories, including electronics, fashion, home, kitchen, pets, toys, and, of course, Amazon devices. Holiday gift guides and Amazon's Toys We Love list will also make it easier for Prime members to discover, shop, and save on deals this holiday season. There's always a risk. The article notes that people will hold off on making purchases when they know there's an upcoming sale. On the other hand, getting people to shop in mid-October could help move holiday shopping forward and ease the perennial delivery crush later in the season. I don't know how much that really affects Amazon because they now do almost all of their own shipping. So they're not going to get caught up like most of the rest of us, unfortunately, in what I expect is going to be another heinous United States Postal Service season this holiday. But there you go. They're trying to move some of this stuff into October. Remains to be seen, they say, how it will impact other retailers, which sometimes they note see a halo effect. On Thursday, Walmart issued its holiday news press release, highlighted new and expanded no concerns return options. Like they've always taken literally everything back. I think I told this story once, but I was returning something at a Walmart once, and there was a guy in front of me in line returning a Hot Wheel. Returning a Hot Wheel. It's a dollar item, but he was returning a Hot Wheel. But the funny thing to me was, being a Hot Wheel fan, I could tell by the package that this was a Hot Wheel, had to be from the late 80s or very early 90s. No receipt, $1 Hot Wheel. They just gave him money and sent him on his way. So I don't know that Walmart has ever been particularly strict on their return policy, but there you go. Again, Prime Early Access Sale, October 11th from 12 a.m. through October 12th, runs in 15 countries across the world. Moving on over to Etsy. This is not directly Etsy related. This refers to a company that is owned by Etsy, Reverb, which is a kind of music equipment marketplace. Etsy raises payment fees on its Reverb marketplace. Etsy is increasing fees for sellers who sell through its online marketplace Reverb. Instead of paying the current rate of 2.7% plus 25 cents per transaction, sellers will now be paying 3.19% plus 49 cents per transaction. So it's a fairly hefty increase, not just the flat fee nearly doubling, but the percentage rate also going up substantially. Reverb notified sellers by email on Tuesday evening and provided the following reason for the fee increase. Credit card companies have increased the fees they charge Reverb while we've kept our payment processing fee the same. For the past 10 years, it's become increasingly more expensive to process payments. These new higher fees for Reverb sellers will roll out on October 27th. And lastly, from Etsy, they are giving 20% off coupons to select buyers. They're funding a new marketing campaign to encourage customers to return to the site and make another purchase. This week, it will give a subset of buyers coupons that are good for 20% off their next purchase. They ran a similar campaign apparently back in June, which they said was successful in bringing more buyers back to shop on Etsy. They'll receive this email with the 20% off coupon fully funded by Etsy. So you as the seller are not on the hook for this 20%. Etsy is taking the discount and they're paying you as a seller full price. They're eating the cost of the coupon. Fully funded by Etsy that they can use towards their next purchase. The promo code will be unique to the buyer and will last for just 2 days. Not all sellers will be treated equally in the marketing campaign. However, in June, Etsy guided recipients of the email to certain curated categories, including one featuring star sellers. So this is an area where becoming a star seller, which Etsy swears up and down does not affect how your listings appear in their search rankings. Here's an instance where being part of that program and being a star seller would, in theory at least, make your listings more visible because they'll be directed to them, potentially at least, with this coupon. Although the coupons are technically funded by Etsy, the company had justified its April 2022 fee increase by promising to spend more on marketing. So we're all paying for it in the end, or in the beginning, in this case, I guess it was, through higher fees kind of all along. But hey, there you go. So that's about it for the news. That's plenty, right? That's 30 plus minutes of reselling news. That's probably more than most people want to listen to, to be fair. But I appreciate you coming out and listening every week. The numbers have not quite returned to what they were when I took my hiatus. I'm still getting, between the actual podcast and the YouTube channel, close to 300 views / listens. But at one point, before I had my little break, it was getting close to 500 views and listens each time. So if you know someone who maybe listened to this show previously that gave up and unsubscribed or unfollowed when I took that little break, remind them that we're back here. That would be great. If you're watching on YouTube and you got something out of this and you enjoyed it, please do me a favor and smack that thumbs up button. It lets YouTube know that this wasn't a total waste of your time or mine. If you're not currently a subscriber or a follower of the podcast, please consider doing that as well. I would love to have you along. With all of that being said, we're now into October. I, for my part, am thrilled to put September behind me. It was just an awful month. Sales really weren't that bad. I shouldn't make it sound like it was that terrible. So I was actually up this September versus last September nearly 15% in sales. However, I had multiple calamities, including a PC that died, just totally crashed. I think the hard drive has failed. I managed to back up most of the stuff, but I essentially spent nearly a day trying to recover as much stuff as I could from that computer. So it was just one thing after another for September. So I'm ready for October, not the least of which because it's my birthday month. So for those of you who are inclined to do so, we'll have a birthday podcast in a few weeks as I continue to roll through my 50s. All that being said, hey, I hope everybody's had a great week. I hope you have a fantastic week this week and sell a bunch of stuff. And now it's time to sell. Thanks, guys. You have been listening to the Galaxy CDs Rocks and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you again next time.